Hello there everyone, welcome back to another video about a children's trading card game. The One Piece card game, to be specific, is releasing very soon as of the time of this recording. I was hoping to get unboxings out on release, but it looks like my stuff is delayed. So today I'm going to be bringing you essential pickups. I'm not necessarily saying to grab these at release, but from what I have been hearing about allocation, pretty much worldwide, stores are getting something like half to a quarter of what they actually ordered from what I'm hearing. So obviously take that information with a heap of salt. It might be completely different where you live, but from what I've been hearing and from what my local stores have experienced, distribution is pretty constrained. There is not much product out there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the better ones of these cards start spiking pretty quick. What am I talking about? Okay, what are we doing today? We're going to be doing a tier list of all the SR and secret rare cards in the first set. These are the money cards. I'm not talking about alternate arts. Those are something for whales who want to bling out their decks. If you're watching this video and you want to know which ones are worth your money, don't worry about them. They're probably going to be too expensive to even remotely consider, because I'm pretty sure you can get playsets for the price of a single alt art of these base rarity cards. I'm going to be ranking these on how playable they are, and to some degree I'm also going to factor in how playable they look to be in set 2, but that's going to be a pretty minor thing. I'm really going to be focusing on set 1, which is going to be our format until March, and is what you're going to be caring about. So let's go ahead and get started. We will begin with the first card here, which is this 2-cost Luffy. This is a really interesting card. So obviously it's very cheap at a 2-drop, and it's a 2-drop that swings for 5. And you know, in Luffy-based decks, so the starter deck Luffy, this is a card that instantly slots in at least 2 copies. Some lists play 4 copies. From what I've seen, most lists are playing closer to 2, but you can play as many as you want, and it fits very well into those starter decks, but it also fits very well into Zoro decks, because the effect of this card is giving itself the Don it needs, right? So you don't actually have to worry about it getting those, and then with Zoro, suddenly it's swinging for 6k. And a 2-drop swinging for 6k for basically nothing, like no investment on your end at all, is phenomenally powerful. So I'm torn, because as good as this card is, it's hardly, like, you know, meta breaking. It's not rampant. It's not like a staple and everything. It's fine. The biggest issue, very susceptible to Nico Robin, which every red deck is playing at high quantities. So I'm going to put this in good. I'm not going to put it in very strong. No one would give you shit for playing this, I think, but definitely don't run around saying it is super crazy. Unlike Zoro, who is going straight up into meta-defining, this is one of the most important cards in the Set 1 format. There are a couple of other cards that are on this Zoro tier level of importance, but Zoro is basically anything that's playing red is probably playing Zoro. It is a rare deck indeed that does not want to be playing at least 2 copies of this, and most are playing 4. Fundamentally, being able to slam down a 5k rusher for 3 is so powerful because of the way Summoning Sickness works in this game, because your opponent is always trying to plan a turn or 2 ahead, and they're generally trying to be reactive to what they think you can do on your next turn, and that is, you know, intimately tied with your board state. And Zoro rejects that entire understanding of the game by going, well, actually, I have rush, so fuck you. Which I know is a very flowery way of basically saying, slam down, me go face. I understand. But fundamentally, that's very good. The combos that you can do with this guy in red-green lore are extraordinary, right? You play a Zoro down, you swing with the Zoro, you leader effect, bounce a Zoro, play the 5-drop lore, spoiler, that's going to be up here too, and then the lore bounces something else, and you play back the Zoro, and suddenly you just got a free bonus attack out of that. Well, free, but I mean, you know, incredibly high value. Very strong card. Absolutely deserves to be in that meta-defining tier. Now let's go to Kinemon, and I'm tempted to put this card in good, but firstly, it is only usable in Odin. And that sucks immediately, right? Because having an SR that you can literally only use with 1 leader, like, not that it's only good in 1 leader, that you can literally only use with 1 leader. It has to be named Odin. It's not like Wano country. No, it has to be named Kozuki Odin for you to use the actual good effect of this guy. Is something that's immediately, it needs to be broken tier to end up anything here, right? And it's just not, The deck is not very good, and I think I kind of have to put this in bad. It's not quite Fire Cell tier bad, although maybe it is. You know, I'm pretty conflicted, right? Because so Fire Cell to me means like if you get it, just get rid of it. And I can appreciate, you know, okay, so in set 1, I'd put it in bad. I would put it in bad just for the information we have available to us right now because it's so restrictive and the deck isn't very good. And the effect isn't that strong either. It's a good effect, but it's not, you know, ridiculous. In set 2, we have a completely new Wano Country Green leader in Kinemon, which is what everyone has shifted to. Now, it's possible in the future Odin comes back in a fashion and suddenly Kinemon becomes very, very strong, in which case, you know, you'll thank yourselves for keeping a playset. But I'm going to put it in Fire Cell because I don't see this card being more than like $2. I'd be genuinely shocked if it's more than that because it is it barely sees play now because Odin barely sees play, and it sees no play next set because no one's playing Odin. So I think I'm going to put it down there. Next up in meta defining, and I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it slightly below Zoro because Zoro is just more widely usable than lore. Like there are some decks that actually don't play this lore, but this lore is absolutely incredible. So strong. A 6k blocker is already nice. It's a little expensive at 5, but you know the benefit you're getting is the fact that you can also bounce something and play something down, so you're re-triggering any on entries. You can attack with something and then return that thing to your hand, so it's safe. Very powerful utility card. You know, very nice with the lore as well. You know, like it's very thematic. Yeah, phenomenal card. And you know, green just keeps on swinging here with Kid, and I'm putting Kid at the top of meta defining. In set 1, this is the meta defining card. This card gatekeeps bad decks. You know, Kid decks and lore red-green decks are gatekeeper decks, right? If you cannot compete with those decks, you are not going to do better than like X3 at a tournament. You're just not, right? Because these are incredibly powerful decks, incredibly prevalent, and you don't even build them around this card, right? Like, yes, people did at the start. That is no longer sufficient because decks are able to counter it. But, you know, this pretty much locks out blue, right? Like, blue just can't deal with this, right? So the existence of this card completely invalidates an entire color. On top of that, you know, it can be pretty difficult for other colors to deal with as well, right? Like, you know, you have to specifically main deck these anti-8-drop Kid packages in red or in purple or in green. Like, you got to actively think about this card when you are deck building, when you are playing. That is the definition of meta defining. This card is phenomenally strong. Crocodile, I'm going to put him bad. And the reason is this card is just a complete bait. I read this and I thought, wow, this in that blue-purple Crocodile deck, this is going to be crazy. You're going to get all these events, you're going to spam it, you're going to be drawing cards, oh, it's going to be phenomenal. It sucks. It's just bad, right? Like, and I'm not putting it in Fire Cell tier because at least, you know, it's a 7/7, which isn't fantastic. You know, you compare this to Doflamingo, which is actively removing something. This is just a 7/7. Has Banish, which is a powerful keyword. It's a very powerful keyword, but, you know, it doesn't have a Rush or something. That would be really nice if it had a Rush. And then the ability to reduce all those event costs, yes, that's a very powerful effect. At the moment, you can't make use of it. Now, I can see in the future a deck arising where you can actually, you know, make really good use of this card. And when that day comes, I'll be glad I didn't put this in Fire Cell tier. But until then, not worth your time, not worth the effort. Next up with blue here, we got Mihawk. And I'm going to put Mihawk in very strong. This is a staple piece of blue. You see this everywhere. This removes anything at 7 cost or lower. And if this card removed 8 cost or lower, blue could be... blue would also have a deck way up there in contention. And actually, that might nerf green out of being like an SS tier deck. But it doesn't. That's our fictitious fantasy universe where I can play Blue Croc as much as I want, and obviously that universe does not exist. This is phenomenal against basically everything else, but not being able to out the bigger purple threats and not being able to out 8-cost Kid are what makes this card not super meta-defining, but it is very strong, by all means. This is a very strong card that removes almost anything, and it's big. It's an expensive thing to use on your turn, but it is worth it when you do. Boa Hancock. I'm going to put this in good, I think, and above Luffy. This is a very powerful card as well. You know, it's a very versatile card. You are getting the draw, right? Whether you block or whether you attack, you just have to don it, and it's a really, really powerful effect. And blockers are pivotal importance. Okay, this is the number one thing to understand. If you are playing, like, if you're not playing a ton of blockers in your lists, you are you're doing it wrong. And we're gonna see this come out. I'm not necessarily running around out here giving like all the source out, but like I think people are going to very quickly discover that you kind of need to be playing more than like 4 or 8 blockers. Like you need to be playing a good number of blockers, and this is a very powerful one of those, and it sees a good amount of play. 10-drop Kaido. I feel like I have to put 10-drop Kaido up here in meta defining. I think it's the worst in the meta definings because you can... Well, okay, so here's the problem, right? You can only use this with Kaido leaders. So that's the blue-purple Kaido or the purple Kaido. A kind of consequence is that almost every other purple leader isn't worth your time of day. Why? Because this card combined with Onigashima mean that there is no reason, basically, to play a non-Kaido leader because those are such powerful cards. This card giving a complete board wipe is an answer to every board state nightmare. Every time you lose board, you don't care because you got this guy to bail you out. I've got to put it up here. And it's not as meta defining as Kid. It's really expensive, and it doesn't instantly win you the game because if you're on 0 life or something, guess what? Playing a 10-drop Kaido is not going to save you. They're still going to swing face with 10 Dons, and you're not going to be able to block a 15k attack. But if you are not super duper behind, you're a little behind, or you're even a lot behind, you're just not at 0 life behind, this can just instantly swing you the... or 1 life against Kid. Or 1 life against Green Kid, I should say. This card can just save your bacon. And it's such a powerful tempo swing. And then, when you do it, you've got a 12k attacker every single turn that is going nowhere. This is a phenomenally powerful card. Absolutely up there in the meta-defining tier. As you can see, almost every colour has one. Mihawk's trying. He's trying his best. This king, I'm going to put it in good. This is a very powerful card. The problem is it's a little bit expensive at Don -2, and it is very dependent on the game being fast enough that there's lots of 2 or 3 drops on the board for you to target, but slow enough that you're not dead by the time you actually get to play this guy out. So he's a little bit awkward, and he doesn't have a counter. If this guy had a 1k counter, I would be putting him in very strong tier, absolutely. I'd probably be playing more copies of him, because then you can actually discard him. But yeah, I think this is really good, and I think I'm going to put him at the top of good, because he sees the most play. He is a staple in every purple deck at a couple of copies, whereas these guys don't see play in some builds. Finally, we have the secret rares, and I think with both of these, I'm in an interesting position. Okay, so I'm putting Shanks at the bottom of good. Shanks is actually quite a good card. Being 10k is nice. Obviously, in a previous video, I said that it's kind of like a worse version of the promo Luffy, the Russia promo Luffy that's like a 5/6. And I stand by that in the sense that you can't play this card as early. And, what are you really getting that's better? Well, you are getting, yes, okay, you're removing some blockers, but 2k, like... I'll let you guys in a little secret. There's a lot of blockers in the metagame that are bigger than 2k, so you might not necessarily do anything with that effect, but he is 10k. And being immune to getting like jet pistoled or being really big and annoying to deal with is an advantage, absolutely. It's also Shanks, which is cool. The card is good. It sees play in Luffy, absolutely, but it doesn't see any play in Zoro decks. So I haven't. Well, it's a little bit, but like generally speaking, from what I've seen, Zoro decks don't play this card, but Luffy decks absolutely do. From what I've been seeing. And maybe it is the case that there are Zoro lists playing it. I think Zoro is a really versatile deck, and I don't think anyone would hold it against you for playing this card. But generally Zoro is a much more aggressive rush style deck, so you want to be playing cheaper things rather than something like this. And therefore I think it goes in the bottom of good tier. I don't think it's really looking like it's getting much better moving forward, which is another consideration. Yamato. Now this is a card that by all accounts I want to put in bad, and the reason I want to put it in bad is it's so telegraphed, it's so easy to stop, you have to invest so much into it. Don't get me wrong, double attack banish, intensely strong, intensely good, but you have to invest so much into it, and basically every meta deck has a way to out it, right? Like green can rest it and then attack into it, purple can hard remove it, red can hard remove it, blue can hard remove it, it can bounce it or it can send it to the bottom. Like leader abilities in purple, like if this card ever became meta relevant, blue croc rolls up as anti-meta and is just bouncing it every single time. So it gets countered by literally everything. However, if it doesn't get countered, you probably win that game. If you actually manage to land, you just slap all your dons onto it and swing, they haven't got a blocker, yeah, you've won that game. And also, going into next set, this card is becoming very, very strong. So I'm putting it at the moment, I'm going to put it at the top of bad, but This card, absolutely, with both these secrets, I'm going to be picking up a playset, and I'm going to be holding on to a playset, because I know Shanks might not get any better. Shanks is better right now, it might only get worse, but this card, Yamato, she is going way up. Like, she's going to be very, very strong going into set 2 with the Kinemon leader, and you should be aware of that. So that is my ranking. Therefore, my recommendations, if you see something in very strong or above, definitely pick up 4. You're not going to regret picking up 4. You don't even really need 4 of this kid. You only need 2, to be honest. And you also don't even really need 4 of this. You only really need 2. 2 to 3. 2 to 3 of both of these. But definitely pick up 4 Zoros, pick up 4 Laws. Mihawks, again, you only need to like 2 to 3, but you can pick up 4. And yeah, as you can see, you don't actually need a lot of the SRs in this game to build these meta-relevant decks. It's shockingly budget. For now. We'll see what happens in set 2. But that is it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And have I overrated some cards? Have I underrated some cards? Do you think I have told people to buy cards they do not need, or told people not to buy cards they do need? I apologise if I have, but I've got like 2,000 subs, so I doubt that many people are listening. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you're interested in more One Piece content, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, because goddamn, I've got so much coming up from the remaining set review videos for the second half of the set. At the time of this recording, the first half have gone out. Tier lists, deck profiles. As soon as I get my physical cards in, you're going to be getting one of those per leader, essentially, is my plan. I'm going to try and do 1 per leader, and that's going to be way out there. In addition, if you like Battle Spirit Saga, if you like Lorcana, if you like Gate Ruler, like any of those games, like this video, subscribe, because I make videos on those too. But that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching again, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.